to you, but I just wanted you to have something to leave with. What we propose is a charter amendment on this November's ballot, and I put the text of it up top. It's just one sentence, so I'm going to, forgive me, I'm going to read it to you. It says, the city and its various boards and commissions may not spend any monies for right-of-way acquisition or construction of improvements for passenger rail transportation, e.g. trolley or streetcar, within the city limits without first submitting the question of approval of such expenditure to a vote of the electorate of the city and receiving a majority affirmative vote for the same. Now, what does that mean? That means that really, in our view, the city leadership has not done a good job of presenting this plan to the people. We've gotten a lot of calls from people in the periphery, Sailor Park, Madisonville, Roselawn, saying, why in the world are they going to spend 1/10 or 10 or 20% of the city budget on one project for a couple, 3 or 4 neighborhoods? And we're hearing a lot of complaints. This is a very contentious issue everywhere but downtown and over the Rhine where the streetcar is going to run. And that's a problem because we're all in this boat together. We've got 52 neighborhoods here, and we're about to take real good care of a few of them at the expense of all of them. And the ones who are feeling left out of this process are becoming very vocal about it. Now, what that means is whether we're going to become a streetcar city or not, we got to get everybody on board. And there's a good reason for this. We've undertaken a lot of projects here in this town with big ticket capital projects, and some have worked out and some haven't, but they've all been contentious.
What does contentious mean?
Contentious, fought over, battled over, and the first example is the stadiums. Paul Brown Stadium, Great American Ballpark. You all remember what happened when that was coming down. The Bengals were going to leave unless we built them a new stadium. So the county commissioners passed a 1-cent sales tax increase just on their own, didn't bother asking anybody, and it was immediately referendum by the people. The people got together and said, oh no you don't, we're going to put this on the ballot and vote it down. And the county commissioners knew that was going to go down, and they scrambled. And then they did what they should have been doing all along. They went out and talked to the people and said, what's really the problem here? And the people said it's too much money. And we're not going to take care of the Bengals without taking care of the Reds too. And we want some relief on our property taxes. And so once they had the input of the community, the entire plan evolved and it got better, because the people were part of the process. And what we wound up with, we had a 0.5-cent sales tax increase with a corresponding property tax reduction. We got 2 stadiums out of the deal over a much longer time frame to pay for it. But I tell you what, today, and the stadium fund is in trouble right now because of the economy, just like everything else. But ask yourself, today, if the stadium fund gets in trouble, are the people going to back it, or are they going to walk away from it? They're going to back it, because we voted on that. We voted in favor of it. We got their back. Whatever happens with the stadiums, the people are going to stand behind our organizations and our government to make sure that thing comes through successfully. We're going to make it work, because we've been in it the whole time. Now, let me talk about another project. The Underground Railroad Freedom Center, great institution, great organization, but that thing happened down there without any input from anybody. They went outside the city and county for their funding. They went outside the local area for their architecture and design. And basically this thing appeared on the riverfront without any local involvement at all. Now they're struggling because of the economy. If the Underground Railroad Freedom Center gets into trouble, is the community going to back it? Not are you individually going to back it, but what's your opinion? Is the community going to come to the rescue? the people got no skin in the game, and that's a problem. They don't feel that love, they don't feel that attachment, because they were never asked, they were never consulted, they were never brought in to the process. And really, so what we're coming down to is, if you want a project to succeed, you need to get the people on board. You need to get them on board early. You need to consult with them, bring them in, ask them their opinion, figure out what it is that they need to get out of it. And that's really, when you think about it, that's what a good politician is supposed to do. Politicians are about building consensus. They do it to get elected. They're supposed to do it after they get elected. And that's what we haven't seen a lot on the streetcar project. That is the first major reason for this charter amendment. The charter amendment doesn't say that we shall not have a streetcar ever, no matter what. It doesn't do that at all. All it does is it says, before you do the major investment, the right-of-way, and the improvements like purchasing rolling stock, you need to check in with the people. Why? Because if you don't have them on board, I don't care how many benefits there are in the project, it will not be successful. You need to get the people on board, and this forces politicians to do their job and to build that consensus, not just among the downtowners, but citywide, because we're all in this together. Now, one of the other main reasons for this is we are in a down economy. We've got a lot of financial problems, both in the city, in the county, and in the country. As Michael told you, this project is $128 million, give or take. It's gone through some evolution on the cost, and I'm sure it will before the whole thing's over. But basically, a project on the order of 100 to 200 million bucks, give or take, and they're all just estimates at this point. But by contrast, or just to put that into context, how big a number is that? The city spends roughly $1 billion every year. Now, let's just say that I make $100,000 a year and I want to go out and spend $10,000 on a motorcycle. Should I have to ask my wife? Of course I. It's a major part of the family finance structure, and 10% of anybody's budget is something that you don't just make on your own without consultation. And so that's the other thing that we need to do here is, for changing street lights, reworking an intersection, little stuff that the city does and does every day, you don't need to check with the voters. But when you're talking about spending 10% or more of the city's overall budget in raw terms, and an investment that's going to last 30, 40, 50 years, I don't think it's unreasonable to ask our government to check with us first. And so that's the second major portion of the charter amendment is, because this is so long-term and so expensive, we need to make sure we get public input. Another part of this that is really frustrating a lot of people is the process. We've seen, we have a good presentation. Michael gave a good presentation. The city has come out with a fancy report and another fancy report about how this is going to be, but the overall funding strategy has really been lacking, and that's been everybody's big question. Okay, I agree, the streetcars can be wonderful. It can really do a lot of good things, but how are we going to pay for this? And $25 million out of tax increment financing is a good start, but that probably needs to be way up. If this thing's going to generate the kind of huge paybacks, 2.7 to 1, 14 to 1 that they're talking about, they need to find a way to capture that increase and use it to pay for the streetcar rather than sending the bill to Madisonville and Sailor Park. So that hasn't been done yet, and it needs to be further developed. So really, that's it.